All right, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm King Tyson. Don't forget to like and subscribe like I always tell y'all. Check it out. I want to do this quick video like I always do. I want to basically talk about, I put a post earlier about Marlon Wayans. He had made a comment pretty much saying the reason why he didn't get married because he felt that, his mom, he wanted to always be there for his mom, and he feel like the woman he bees with, she might try to be in competition with for the love he had for his mother. So he used that as the reason why he did get married. So, so that's the comment, right? And it drew me to this video because something I want to talk about, and there's a terminology called a son husband. And so it's not nothing like incest. I know it sounds like that, but it's not. It's basically like women who have sons, right? And as the sons get older, well, I'm not gonna say older, as the sons growing up, they treat their sons almost like they man, not in an incest type of way. I mean, far as like when a young boy grows up, he starts becoming a man, he starts being a teenager, she might have him, hey, put a lot of responsibility on him. And it's almost like she instills all these things in the son, but it's like almost like she doesn't have anybody as she get older, and then she tries to still keep that hold on her son as he get older and try to make him almost feel guilty for becoming a man, and especially having a woman and making his own family. Then the mother starts having the attitude and the issue, and the son he's feel torn between the woman he's with and his mother. And so that's what I want to talk about in this video. So that's the reason why it's called a son husband. I want to sit there and say that I can speak a little bit about this because me and my mother is tight. We always been tight, more like brothers and sisters. So my backstory for me, right? My mom was 16 years old when she got pregnant with me. She had me at 17 years old. So my birthday and my mother's birthday is a day apart. We both Cancers, right? July birthdays. And so my mom would date when I was younger. I remember my mom dating and stuff. But at one point in time, and maybe after my son was born, after I got married the first time, my son was born, she struck this bond with my son. And some kind of way, she kind of, as my mother got older, she kind of like, in my opinion, and this is why I want to tell women, like, I don't want you to be single for so long that you get so used to not having a man around. And so she gravitated towards my son, with her grandson, and she just put all into my son, because by this time I'm older. I'm an adult. And so when she does this, it takes away from my own personal life. So she makes the love for my the love for her grandson, which is my son, is her life. She make my son her life. And so the problem with that is when you make kids, that's why I tell ladies, when you make kids your life, you got to understand, kids grow up. And when they grow up, they become adult. And then when they start becoming adult, they start making their own decisions and where they want to go in life. So they tend to leave the nest. And then that leaves you by yourself. This is the reason why I always tell ladies, yes, it's okay to be single. For sure it's okay to be single, to find yourself, learn yourself, love yourself. But at the same time, start taking the precautions of, okay, now as we get older, hey, kind of start, you got a certain standard, I know women like to say, oh, that's selling, but kind of start looking at things from a different option and finding the man that's best fit for you. Start looking for that. And then that will make you happy. I don't want you to, as my advice to the ladies is, I don't want you to be, because that's what happened with my mom, in my opinion. I love my mom to death. But I feel like at a certain point, as my mother got older, she just not worried about dating. And then she been single for so long, she just was like, you know what? If somebody come around, I will. If it don't, it don't. And I'm comfortable with that. And I know that seems to be a lot of the talking point these days, but it's not supposed to be like that. So now going back to when I was younger, right? Like I said, me and my mother's always been close and we've been tight. I was considered more like a mama's boy, you know, because my mom had me as a teenager. You know, I had help. Well, my mother had help raising me between my aunts and my grandmother, right? And so that's why I tell you, I come from a family of a lot of women. My daddy never really was around like that. I see my daddy every blue moon. So my thing is this, y'all, is like, so what happened with me, right? So me and my mother, as she got older, because she was still young, so she really couldn't be the best mom for me in the very beginning because she was still young herself. She was still a teenager, so she had to figure it out. So once she figured it out, me and her got so close. We got so close. We've been so tight. It's like I almost had to. And my mother gave me a lot of game about women, about life, even about the streets. Cause my mama, you know, had a little time in the streets, so she gave me advice about a lot of stuff. And I love my mom to death. But I had got to a certain point to where, as I started getting older, I started listening to everything my mom would say. I'm like, okay, my mom is right. My mama know everything. My mom is this. My mom is that, right? And the thing about that is, a lot of the times, situations, my mom will be right because of her own experiences. But when you have kids, you have to let your kids live their own experience. And that's where the issue relied at. You know, my mom got to the point to where she was almost like, well, if you don't listen to me, then it's wrong. So if I don't listen to your advice, then I'm wrong. I'm crazy and for listening to your advice because you feel like you my mom, you could tell me, and I'm an adult. So basically, any woman I wanted to be with and date, you had a problem with. you had a problem with this woman. You should get this kind of woman. You should date, you know. Then if you do date a certain woman, then it's something else. So that don't need to be, you know, that doesn't need to be an issue. And this is the reason why I say, ladies, for my ladies who you're a single woman and you have, especially if you have sons, and your son start becoming a teenager, let your son, especially getting a teenager to get into adult, you have to let them make their own decisions. You give them your best, you give them your life, you give them life lessons, and you raise them well. You don't taught them right from wrong. So now you got to let them go on the world experience for themselves. If they end up with the woman that you don't like, then so be it. It just happens like that. That's the woman that he chose to be with. Just like when you were younger, couldn't nobody tell you if you really felt you wanted to be with this certain man. Nobody could tell you nothing. You know, I mean, so it's like you got to do the same thing for your kids, right? And so, like I said, I can admit I was a mama's boy at one point in time. Like I listened to everything my mama say. What my mama said was gold. I would, if you disagreed what my mama said, I would just, you know, let me say this. Even my first marriage, I will admit, I was wrong in this case, right? As far as when I got married, when you get married, you're supposed to detach yourself from your parents and you hold on to your wife, and you and your wife become one, right? In my first marriage, my son's mother, I looked at my wife and my mother, I put them on the same level, and I was totally wrong for that. And the reason why I did that, because I felt that I was so close to my mom. You know, mom been through so much growing up. Because, you know, especially when your mother's a single mother, you know, we go through some trials and tribulations. We went through a lot of, you know, financial hardship. My mom had to work 2 and 3 jobs. When I got old enough to work, I was putting money, assisting with bills and stuff like that. Me and my mom been through some things, right? So that closeness that we've been through growing up, that hardship brought us so much closer together. That's why I felt like my mom is my everything. And so when it was time for me to date a woman, I almost had this like, okay, well, she's going to be the same level as my mom. And y'all, that's not how it's supposed to be. Fellas, if you watch this video, that's not how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to put your woman and your mother on the same level, no matter how much you love your mama. So I did that in my first marriage, and that was a big mistake. That's one thing that I can admit to in my first marriage, that was a problem, right? So once I realized that was a problem, And we got a divorce. And as I got older, I met my second wife, which is my current wife now. Love you, baby. I had to realize that I had to make the decision for myself. Like, this is who I want to be with. Mom, no matter what your opinion is, this is who I want to be with. This is who I love. And so back to the son-husband thing, this is the reason why the terminology is called son-husband, because women will hold on, single mothers, not women, single mothers will hold on so tight to their sons that they almost turn them to their husband, but not in the incest way. But that son would have the responsibility on him when he get older. He will start working, giving you money for bills. Which nothing wrong with, paying his way if he's still living at home. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying, like, you put the responsibility on him at a younger age. If he got smaller siblings, it's responsibility on him to take care. If something happened in the house, it's his responsibility to handle that. It's so much. And then when he gets older, you put so much responsibility on him, you make so much of an impression on him that he almost feels guilty in loving another woman, because he might feel that you'll be upset. And a lot of times, single mothers who have this issue, they do have a problem with their son dating, having a woman. Because then they feel like, oh, who is she to come over here and love him? I'm the only one that can love him like that. I'm the one who really loves him. And these single mothers, they turn into this. Then they don't like the woman for no reason. Make it hard for the woman for no reason. So I say this to the fellas, like, fellas, if you fall into this category of a son husband, if you didn't know what it is before this and you know what it is now, I've been there. I've been a mama's boy. I've been the son, I guess the son husband, right? I've been that, everything for my mom. Like, and I'm gonna still be there for my mom. I love my mom to death. I'm gonna still be there for her. I talk to her, man, probably I talk to my mom a lot of times a day. Me and my mother, we with my son, anybody know me for personal reasons, with my son, is the reason why, my mother's more involved. And so that's the thing, right? But I had to come to the realization that, hey, mama, I love you. You my mother. I'm going to love another woman. Besides you, I'm going to be in love with my wife. This is who I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. If God say the same. So I love you, but don't mean I don't not love you because I'm in love with another woman, So, and fellas, like I said, is you not wrong, man. And your mother, especially if you got that single mother that's like, and a lot of times this happens with single mothers. Normally, mothers who normally have somebody, or they married themselves, or date, whatever, they normally don't have this issue. They normally are not like that with their kids because they have their own life. They still be there for their kids, their sons or whatnot, but they have their own life. This usually are the single mothers who stop dating. These are the ones who don't have they haven't had a long relationship in 10 years, 20 years. And we have women in our community that's like that. Ain't dated since the 90s. Ain't dated since the early 2000s. Just one man have hurt them, two men have hurt them, and they just gave up on dating, And so when that happens, they gotta allocate they love to somewhere else. And if it's not on another man, it's gonna be on her son, her kids. Not saying she don't love her daughter. I'm just saying when it comes to this son husband thing, and that son becomes the ideal man in her life. He, not incest wise, y'all know what I'm trying to say, but he becomes the ideal man because he handles everything as if he was her husband. If something happened with Mama Car, he's right there to go fix the car. Hey, baby, I need to go to the store. I'm not feeling too good. The son's right there. It's almost like when you're little and you're in your room and your mama call your name, Tyson, come in here. And then you go in the room, you like, mama, what's up? Can you hand me that remote? And the remote right there at the end of the bed. It's almost like that, but you become an adult this time. And it's the same thing. Everything your single mother becomes dependent upon you as a man. So, ladies, that's for the fellas. It's okay to say, mama, no. Mama, I love you, but I got to move forward with my life. I'm going to still be there for you, but I got to move forward with my life, no matter what it is. I got to make my own decisions. For the ladies, if you are a single mother and you don't realize that you're doing this, you can be doing this. You can go through this, and it's not, I'm not going to say it's not your fault. It's just that you probably don't even realize it. That's what you're doing to your son, especially if you got a teenage son or a young son, 21, 20 years old, 21, 22 years old. You don't realize you're doing that. You putting that guilt on him. You making him feel guilty for being in love with another woman because of because it's selfishness. Because your own selfishness, because the choice that you had in your life that you just gave up on love. So it's not that you don't want your son to give up. You don't want your son not to have love. You just don't want him to have the love that you feel might replace you. And you as mother, you can never be replaced by him. You always have a special place in his heart, but he has to follow his life and the woman he be with. So that's what it's all about. So my opinion, Marlon Wayans, looking at that, just going off of that, I feel like I've been there before. I know what he's saying, but I had to break away from it. And fellas, a lot of times, ladies, as men, especially in our community where we got a lot of, I believe it's like I said, 70% of men are coming up in single parent households. And more likely it's going to be we growing up with our mother and she's a single mother. And like I said, our black women, a lot of times when they experience heartbreak at an early age, or they experience back-to-back heartbreaks or whatever, they give up on men. They get to a certain age where I'm getting older. Men ain't shit. Man, this and this and that. I'm done. I ain't worried about it. If I get him, if a man come along, he do. If he don't, he don't. You have that attitude. And then so now now what you gonna do for love now? And then you put that love on your son. So that's something to think about. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Am I wrong on this? Am I right on this? Y'all let me know. I love the feedback. Again, once King Tyson 713 at yahoo.com. If you want to email me, reach out to me, ask me questions, advice about something, I can give you that. I'll try to respond back as quickly as possible. Peace and blessings. King Tyson, I'm out. One love.